because a lot of people are also calling in based on them seeing the telephone number on our adverts on Facebook and all that. So it's not only Port Harcourt listeners that are actually trying to call in. So on that note, thank you very much. And also, when we make contributions, as much as I understand the passions behind what people say, how they feel, we have to be very careful, because we're broadcasting live, and we have to be very careful how we make our presentation so that we stay within the guidelines of broadcasting. Having said that, today is a day that you and I hopefully will look back upon, whichever position you are taking. We will be able to look back on today, and we will mark it in our calendars. Today seems to be the day that Nigerians, the world actually, the electorate particularly, and people in Nigeria who during the past elections and even at this 2019 elections, families of people who paid the highest price, people who died during the elections, people who were maimed during the elections, they will be very interested to hear the judgment, whichever way the judgment goes. Some people would like it, some people will not like it. But will the judgment be the right thing for Nigeria? And is this judgment going to be along the lines of what Nigerians expect from the judiciary, and the role that judiciary should be playing in the legal issues of Nigerians, especially when it comes to issues of elections, rigging of elections, not rigging of elections, even the INEC itself, that is the body that is set up to conduct free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. Before I came out, I was surfing the television studios and seeing people's reactions, and listening to politicians, and listening to political party leaders, listening to people with diverse interests on the way the judgment ought to go, based on what the law, on what is expected in a court of law. First of all, in a court of law, you're supposed to take an oath to tell the truth. Second of all, when you take an oath to tell that truth, you're supposed to, the judges therefore are to take you by your word, because you have taken an oath. We are therefore supposed to take you by your word, that what you are saying is the truth, the absolute truth, and nothing but the truth. And so you say, so help you God, with your hand on the Bible or the Quran, depending on your own. Ordinarily, just looking, the times that I have had the opportunity to have a glance, to listen to during the case, when the case was on, when I have had time to read, to watch, to listen to the presentations, what the lawyers are saying, what the witnesses are saying, and all of that, and knowing what transpired on the day of elections, putting into account the things that I personally saw, and taking into account the things that were presented to us, the things we heard, the things we saw, the experiences we had on the day of election. In some cases, days and even weeks leading up to the elections, especially here in Rivers State, in the Niger Delta region, what we endured. And unfortunately, people lost their lives in the processes of wanting to vote, conducting the election. Even people, staff of INEC, lost their lives. So it is very, very important that we do not leave the ball. Our eyes must be on the ball. We, meaning you and I, the electorate, not so much the politicians, the electorate, because politicians cannot, if we believe that this is a democracy, then a politician cannot emerge as a winner in an election if you and I have not come out to vote for him. But it's very worrisome when we have situations blatantly showing in some places the number of people who are registered as the electorate and the number of people who are supposed to have voted. When the people who are supposed to have voted oversee the people who are registered, already there is something wrong there. Even if it is in one unit, already there is a lie there, already there is a deceit there, already there is a question that must be asked. That's one. Two, when people have registered, an election comes along every 4 years, it is also worrisome that we do not seem to take into consideration in Nigeria that between registration and election, people die, unfortunately, of natural causes or whatever. And so when somebody dies, it means that that person, whenever election comes up, that person cannot vote because that person is dead. And then we also forget that people turn 18. That means that between the last election and the next election, there are people that will turn 18. So now, those people that will turn 18, do they register and do they vote? So the figures at every given time, the figures of election must constantly be updated. The electoral list must constantly be updated. So these are some of the things that ought to come out, at least for the electorate to know. Now, going back to the judgment that we are expecting today, the judiciary of Nigeria is today on trial. The judiciary is on trial. They are on trial. The Nigerian people are watching the judiciary. The international community are watching the judiciary. Because if a case is presented and certain things are blatant and certain things were done in the past, now we need to some of the things that have come out during the presentation of the case is that the president not ascending, not signing the